Good morning, everybody. Uh, every time I say that, I always say, hey guys, how's it going? Or hi, everybody. And it reminds me of a Simpsons character who used to always say, hi, everybody.
Thank you, Toy. Hi, everybody.
Hopefully it's not too windy for you guys. I've got a couple of things I need to do outside today. I am wearing a sweater. Obviously, we're getting into those winter months. It's getting a little bit chilly outside, but this is also a good time to just finish wrapping up some things in the garden and to, of course, get some of the compost stuff ready to go out. But in order for me to prepare some of that compost, I need something that I do not have. I'm going to make it today, and I'm bringing you along with me. All right, let's get started. Okay, first things first, let's check the scrap wood pile. Let's see if we have what we need there. We're looking for 33, 34, maybe a little longer would be nice, inches wide. I guess we'll start there. We'll see what we have and go from there. So this is my scrap wood pile. This is everything I've collected over the last year or so that I've been here on random projects. Mostly these are offcuts from building all the fencing all around the property. A lot of it does kind of seem like junk. Most of these cuts are about 2 feet in length, but they're perfect in length for doing small projects, cutting them up into slivers for random little outdoor things. If you remember, the vertical garden that I just built recently was actually a scrap wood project. It was mostly pickets, leftover pickets or some offcut pickets, and a couple of 2x4s that I had left over that I did not use as part of the fence posts and so on. And so this pile here is really one of those that I just come back to from time to time whenever I need a little 2-foot cut of something or whatever, and it's worked out pretty good for me. I can't say that I'm going to use all of it, and some of it may end up in the burn pile or in the trash, but while it's here, I'm going to take advantage of it, and I've already paid for it, so technically it's kind of free, and that's the best price of all. Alright, let's see what we got. Let's see, what did I say, about 33, 34, somewhere in that ballpark. Let's see if we have anything here. That guy's about 35 1/4. We can even those guys up. Let's see. Now, the other dimension is totally up to us. We can make it whatever we want. And I think what we want is whatever measurements we have available. So let's see what we got. Those two are keepers, and let's see, we need 2 others that are about the same size. Those guys can be cut to about 24 inches. That's a good size. Alright, so we have enough material to give us the initial frame. Let's go ahead and do that. For this project, I'm going to need a few things. A circular saw to cut these 2x4s to length, some 3-inch screws to put everything together, and lastly some fencing staples, or possibly some lath screws to attach the screen. Of course, we can't forget some sort of measuring tape and a screw to drive those screws in. A speed square would definitely help to make it nice and square, but it's not required because the screening is going to help you square things up. Lastly, you need some scrap pieces of wood and some screen from the hardware store. The one I'm using here is called a hardware cloth, and it is about a 1/2 inch, but it doesn't have to be. You can make the diameter whatever you want. They sell hardware cloth in different sizes, in 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, I think up to 5/8 maybe, and then you can start even getting into like chain link fence or fencing if you really don't care about big chunks. You're just trying to get rid of like the little baby logs that are stuck inside of your organic matter. It's totally up to you. Personally, I went with a 1/2 inch because the gauge of the wire is good and thick, so it's not going to break, and it gives me material that's small enough that it could be used as a seed starter or as a potting mix or just a soil amendment into the garden. All right, let's put this thing together. I really need to build myself a workbench. The hardest part of a lot of these build projects is working on the ground. I'm not getting any younger. I bought 36-inch high 1/2 inch mesh opening hardware cloth. I went with 36 inches because I knew that it would meet the width requirement of my wheelbarrow, but you could just as easily go with a smaller. Sometimes you can find these in 24 inch as well if you're looking to make something just a little bit smaller. I'm deciding to go with the 3/4 inch fence staples. They're kind of a pain to use, and it's very cold outside, and I'm probably going to jam my fingers, but unfortunately the lath screws that I have are too small, and they won't fit over these. I could use washers to hold this down, but I have these. Okay, so this is it. Granted, it's pretty big, but it's what fits my wheelbarrow, and it's what fits my needs. And that's what's great about this simple little tool, is that you can create one that fits whatever your needs are. If you just need a 5-gallon bucket and a small screen, you can build something for that. And it's, you know, 4 little scrap pieces of 2x4 and some hardware mesh. Now, if you've recently had a screen-in porch repair and you've got some leftover screening, you can make some really fine potting mix using something like that. And like I mentioned earlier, you can use a larger hardware cloth to create something that's a little bit more coarse. But the choice is yours. Options are infinite, and that's what I think is great about this simple little tool that I think anyone can make. You may have noticed also that I cut these with just simple little wire snips, and yes, it took me a really long time to do it. I have an angle grinder. I could have used it, but I wanted to prove that you didn't really need one. Even though angle grinders are relatively inexpensive, I didn't want to unnecessarily add yet another tool. You could have sat there and just bent it. If you bend metal enough, it eventually gets really warm and soft and just breaks. You could have done something like that. Or if you really didn't have any tools for cutting, you could have just simply built the frame to the dimensions of whatever hardware mesh you could find, so that you don't have to do any cutting at all of that metal. But if you have enough tools to cut the wood, you technically have enough tools to cut the hardware mesh as well. There are metal blades that you can purchase, or metal cutting blades that you can purchase for your circular saw, and you can do it that way as well. Or a hacksaw, or anything of that kind. All right, let's test this out a little bit and see if we can get anything out of it. Sounds good? All right. I'm switching over from my woodworking gloves to my gardening gloves. And I just wanted to point out that what I just scooped in there is compost. It's not anywhere near finished, but even still, it's giving this really nice kind of mulchy compost. Let's see if we can scoop some stuff that's a little more finished. Alright, I'm going to show you what's going on here. So as you know, I have two different compost bins here. This bin is my active one. That's the one that I'm currently putting things into. This bin's been sitting for about a year. You can see what it looks like. Very dark, very rich. Also very damp right now. The time of year, maybe not the best to be doing the sifting, but I think it will still turn out with something good, and I'll show you. From that pile that I just showed you, this is some of the leftovers after I shook it. You'll see that there's really thick old mango pits, pieces of wood chips, some more wood chips here. But you can still see they're coated in just that fine layer of composted organic material, and the bacteria is still surrounding these and will continue to break these down. After all that shaking, let's see if I can move this. I'll get it out of the way and then show you what we have here. Look at this. You kidding me? This is great. Look at that. That is wonderful, and that's going to continue to break down. But even as it is right now, that is a perfect medium if I was transplanting right now, or even if I was mulching over the gardens, getting it ready for spring, or at least mulching this over and letting it rest for the fall. This is exactly what I'm trying to get right there. Just deeply, deeply composted little bits of wood chips and leaves and all kinds of stuff in there. So the trick is really to build yourself one of these. If you want to get compost that looks like what you're buying from the big box stores. If you just throw a bunch of stuff in a pile, you're going to end up with this. It's not going to be very good. That's not what you want to try to start your seeds in, or to try to transplant into, or to try to mulch with like you have here. What you really want is this. You do not want this in your garden beds. Although you can use this in your walkways, in your paths, if you choose to. But what I'm going to do is take this, once I'm done sifting the entire bin, and I'm going to put this into my active bin so that I can help inoculate that a little bit more and get that composting process reactivating through the winter. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to keep working at this until it's done. In the meantime, you guys, as always, be good to each other, and I'll see you on the next one. Oh, hey guys, psst. Hey, if you're still here and you're not subscribed, come on, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button, costs you nothing, totally helps me out. I'm really trying to hit my goals, and you would do me a solid if you just hit that subscribe button. Maybe drop me a like, even a comment, whatever, no pressure, just saying, it's right down there. All right, I'll see you guys later. Why am I looking up here? What's up there? I'm literally staring at my microphone. YouTube noob. See you guys later. That one will go in the bloopers.